Woo! We are diving into a study today. We are on part 2 of our longevity study that we did some yesterday. So today is part 2. We are talking about longevity. We're going to look at carbohydrates. We're going to look at some diets, like some different diets that are out there, and just the marrying of diet and lifestyle and what that does for our longevity. And this is a recent study that was done in October, or was published in October of 2023, and is in the Journal of Internal Medicine now, just in April. So we are ready on the Daily Energy Bite Show. Let's get going because we have a lot to talk about. We'll do a quick review of what we did. I'm going to skip through a lot of slides here because we're going to do a very quick review of what we did last time. I just want to make sure that you know that this is, the study is called Diet Strategies for Promoting Healthy Aging and Longevity, an Epidemiological Perspective on the, which I mentioned is studied, is published in the Journal of Internal Medicine. All right. And so the last time we talked about what longevity is. So in the definition, longevity is an increase in life expectancy. And it's we've really had that increase based on reduced infant mortality and also improved health care, nutrition, and public health measures. So that's where we're going. And this study looks at findings from 2 large cohort studies, the Nurses' Health Study and the Health Professionals Follow-Up Study. These are among the largest and the longest running cohort studies on diet and exercise, and that's why they chose them. So we talked about, here's the findings. Maintaining healthy weight is pivotal. So we talked about that. Finding food sources, specific food sources are more important than the quantity. So we looked at oils and proteins, and now we're going to dive into carbohydrates. And there's also certain dietary patterns are associated with healthy longevity, and combining healthy diet with other lifestyle factors could extend disease-free life expectancies by 8 to 10 years, which is good. So we're going to fast forward through some of the stuff we did last time, and you can look on and find our yesterday's talk as well, part 1 on YouTube. So let's keep going, and we're going to talk about carbohydrates. So this is where we left off. So carbohydrates, I thought, was really interesting. Not that it's all not interesting, but it's for carbohydrates, it's about the quantity and the quality. And I'm going to start off. So they looked at a low carbohydrate diet, which is really a ketogenic diet. They found that it is more effective in promoting weight loss compared to conventional low-fat, high-carb diets in the short term. Okay, I want to say in the short term because in the long term, what happens is the ketogenic diet leads to reduce, or that low carbohydrate diet leads to reduced intake of fiber, vitamins, and minerals, which could have negative health consequences. And they did say that it was, they don't have a lot of long-term studies on that. But the other thing is that high animal, low carb diets is associated with higher all-cause and cancer mortality. Okay, and so that's kind of where the ketogenic diet comes in. And a higher vegetable, low carb diet was associated with lower mortality, particularly cardiovascular mortality. So I think you can do ketogenic two ways. You can do it with high animal, I think there's lots of the ketogenic where they have a focus on the animal protein as the main source of what you're eating. It is possible to do a ketogenic with a vegan ketogenic diet. And so that version where you're looking at high vegetable intake actually was associated with lower mortality. And that kind of goes to that long-term effect of reducing your fiber, vitamins, and mineral content. Because remember, or if you're new, we have been talking about fiber. Fiber is found in plant-based products. There is no fiber in animal products. So that would make the difference when you're looking at the fiber part. So the note is that the carbs in a low-carb diet was much higher than the carbs that you find in a ketogenic, or they called it a very low-carb diet. And so there's also, we need to look at the quality of the carbohydrates. So there is a nutritional value and health effects, including the glycemic let me start again. The carbohydrate quality is based on the nutritional value and the health effects, which includes the glycemic index, the glycemic load, the degree of processing, and the fiber content of the carbohydrates. So not all carbohydrates are created equally. So increasing dietary glycemic index load and the amount of starch, added sugars, and refined grains and starchy vegetables was associated with greater midlife weight gain. And by contrast, increasing amounts of fiber, whole grains, fruits, non-starchy vegetables was associated with less weight gain. So I would say, when it comes to the type of carbohydrates you're getting, like eating your refined pastas and flours and things like that, and sugary treats, those are all where you're looking at your high glycemic index, and starchy added sugars, refined grains, white bread, white pastas, are all associated with midlife weight gain. And that, I don't know, it's not a surprising shock finding from my perspective. Now, a high glycemic index or glycemic load diet often contains higher amounts of refined grains, such as white rice, white bread, starchy foods such as potatoes, sugar-sweetened beverages, are consistently associated with the risk of weight gain, obesity, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, some cancers, and increased mortality, whereas minimally processed grains, legumes, whole fruits, and non-starchy vegetables are protective against these conditions. Okay, so the type of carbohydrate that you're eating is a big determining factor for your risk. Interestingly enough, they focused on sugary sweetened beverages. This one is interesting, that sugary sweetened beverages are a primary source of the added sugars in many diets, and they are consistently associated with increased risk of chronic disease and mortality. By increasing your servings of sugary sweetened beverages by one serving, and one serving pretty much is a cup, you are increasing your risk of your mortality risk by 7%. So just adding one sugary sweetened beverage in a day is going to increase your risk by 7% for mortality. They also looked at artificially sweetened beverages, and it was unclear about the mortality risk of a artificially sweetened beverage. But they did say that higher consumption of artificially sweetened beverages does lead to significant increase in your risk of frailty. So that was important. And like for me, I know on my side, when I used to drink a lot of pop, I'm sure I drank 2 liters a day at one point. I can't even imagine that because I don't drink any of that stuff now. But I switched to artificial sweetened beverages because of the sugar, and I ended up getting a lot of headaches when I did that. And when I switched away from that, the headaches went away. So I would just say that um, artificially sweetened beverages is not a panacea for moving away from sugary sweetened beverages. They definitely have their challenge as well. Okay. So I thought that was interesting. And I just want to, this is a long one, but I wanted to just trying to stay within the confines of the study and make sure I represent it well. So sugary sweetened beverages promote weight gain and consequently elevate the risk of chronic diseases through multiple mechanisms. These include the body's incomplete compensation for liquid calorie intake uh, by not sufficiently reducing food intake at subsequent meals, hyperinsulinemia resulting from rapid absorption of large amounts of sugar, increased chronic inflammation, and potential neural pathways linked to food addiction. Although high consumption of these beverages increases type 2 diabetes and cardiometabolic risk, primarily through weight gain, it also has a direct impact. Specifically, the high amount of glycemic load and fructose in sugary sweetened beverages can lead to accumulation of visceral adipose tissue and atopic lipid disposition and increased risk of gout and non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And I do know that fatty liver disease is becoming more and more prevalent. And one of the things I've been studying the liver, and one of the things about the liver is that it is our powerhouse in our body. We cannot live without our liver. And it's the one organ that actually can grow back, but you need to treat it right. And it performs over 500 functions in our body. There's 500 metabolic functions that the liver performs in our body. So our liver is working for us all the time. And so this prevalence of fatty liver disease is really quite concerning, for sure. Okay, the next thing that they looked at when it comes to what is in foods is polyphenol-rich plant foods. And polyphenols are diverse, naturally occurring compounds that are found in plant-based foods. So these are flavonoids, which are found in fruits, vegetables, tea, coffee, cocoa, and soy. lignans, which are found in seeds, grains, and vegetables, phenolic acids, which are found in coffee, nuts, and fruits, and resveratrol, which is found in grapes and wine. And these all have antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, and anti-carcinogenic properties. So these are all working on our side. So the benefits of polyphenol-rich plant foods is cardiometabolic benefits such as improved blood lipid profiles, reduced blood pressure. It improves your cognitive function, and it provides a lower risk of neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and I can't, it just slipped my mind. Alzheimer's, I can't remember. Oh my gosh. Okay. It'll come back to me, OJ. All right. Huh?
Yes, it will. It will come back.
I don't know why, I don't know why it left me. I mean, it's very easy, but it just left neurodegenerative diseases here. Anyway, okay. It also promotes healthy, the polyphenols rich foods also promote healthy gut, acting as because it acts as a prebiotic. So the prebiotic is the food that feeds the healthy, that are microorganisms in our gut, and actually keep us having good, healthy gut flora. Because the good bacteria and microbes need good food, and that's what that is. And then it also has anti-aging properties that influence our inflammation, oxidative stress, the epigenetic alterations, and protein homeostasis. So there's lots of benefits of polyphenol-rich foods. And I also want to note that they also contain foods rich in polyphenols contain minerals, vitamins, and carotenoids. And that's what gives the foods their vibrant colors. So we know that plant foods with vibrant colors, those vibrant colors are telling us that they're rich in vitamins, minerals. And so we can look for them. All right, I'm going to go back. It's the neurodegenerative disease was dementia that I was trying to think. So easy, but it's
That's
my
right.
mind.
Dementia.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay. So some of the they highlighted some foods. I'll go through this quickly. Interestingly enough, coffee was number one on their list of highlighted foods. It is a major source of polyphenols for many populations. So they found that moderate coffee consumption, which was 3 to 5 standard cups a day. So that's not a big mug, probably a regular cup, like in 8 ounces, reduce the risk for type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and some cancers, and lower risk of death in diverse populations as a result. And it also reduced the risk of cognitive disorders and Parkinson's disease. So that is interesting because, we often hear that coffee is bad for us because of the caffeine. And I haven't done a review of the difference of how much the polyphenols will counterbalance the caffeine in the coffee. So that's interesting. And so I'm not commenting on whether it's good or not, but this study actually noted that it is good for longevity from the perspective of the polyphenols. Tea also has this similar health benefits, but they found there was less the evidence was less consistent and robust compared to coffee. So there is health benefits, but coffee was much stronger health benefits than tea. The other ones that they looked at, extra virgin olive oil that's made by mechanically pressing the grapes without adding any chemicals or heat. They have higher amounts of polyphenols, and it's associated with a lower risk of chronic disease and mortality. I have heard, but I have no confirmation, that sometimes the extra virgin olive oil that you're buying in the store has been mislabeled. I guess that's not always as it seems. I guess some extra virgin olive oils are watered down or something like that. So you have to be careful that you're getting a good quality extra virgin olive oil if you're buying that. Blueberries were also noted, and they have anthocyanins in them, and that was associated with lower risk of type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and all-cause mortality. And that's what gives the bright blue color that you get in blueberries. They are definitely well known for their health benefits. They also pointed out avocados. They have a variety of beneficial components, including fiber, monounsaturated fat, potassium, and magnesium. And they found that diets that included 2 or more avocados a week had a 16% lower risk of cardiovascular disease. And then they also pointed out that herbs and spices also are very rich in polyphenols, and they have potential health benefits due to their rich polyphenol content. And the notables that they mentioned were turmeric, basil, rosemary, oregano, ginger, garlic, and clovers. It's supposed to be cloves. And you see, like, particularly turmeric, that rich yellow color that comes up. And so these herbs and spices are antimicrobial, antioxidant, and anti-tumorigenic. And here's what they said. Oh, here we go to healthy dietary patterns. And so I wanted to read what they say about that. Because individual foods or nutrients are not typically consumed in isolation, it is important to understand the health effects of overall dietary patterns, which can provide a more comprehensive view of overall diet, reflecting real-world eating habits. Moreover, evaluating overall dietary patterns can help capture the synergistic or antagonistic effects of different food components consumed concurrently and reduce confounding from intercorrelated dietary components. Moreover, again, dietary patterns can take into account cultural and regional variations in diet, making dietary recommendations more adaptable and relevant for diverse global populations. So this kind of goes hand in hand a little bit about what we were talking about earlier in the week, about the reductionist type theory. So when you zoom in on a particular food with particular nutrients, you're taking into account that food and only that food. But we typically will eat foods in combination, and it's about our whole diet. And so when you zoom in on the picture like we did, and you just see some parts of the picture, you can appreciate the brush strokes and all of that, but you need to zoom out to appreciate the whole picture. And so that's really what this is saying, is it's all, you can't just look at isolating individual foods and nutrients. You need to look at the whole picture because it's not in isolation. So this is a really good reminder that we really need to consider the forest through the trees, if you will. So they looked at a number of diets, and I think that they did this as a review. It wasn't part of the study. So they started with the Mediterranean diet, which is abundant in plant foods. So that would be fruits, vegetables, whole grains, nuts, and legumes. They also use olive oil as their main source of dietary fat. And we saw that extra virgin olive oil is actually high in polyphenols, so it has some health benefits. They use fish and poultry in low to moderate amounts, and they are low consumers of red meat. And so they also are moderate consumption of wine, which is typically at meals. So they found that adherence to the Mediterranean diet is associated with reduced risk of obesity, type 2 diabetes, hypertension, dyslipidemia, cardiovascular and heart disease, stroke, and heart failure. It also is associated with a slower progression of age-related cognitive decline and neurodegenerative disorders like Alzheimer's and dementia. All right. They looked at the Nordic diet, which is very similar to the Mediterranean diet, but the oil they use is rapeseed oil, not olive oil. And they do take on an abundance. It looks like they do take on abundance of plant foods again, and also with olive oil is actually, so the rapeseed oil is high in oleic acid, linoleic acid, and alpha linoleic acid, whereas olive oil is shown to be high in oleic acid. So it has some additional benefits. But they also said that their extent of the research on the Nordic diet is very limited. And they did say that adherence to the Nordic diet is associated with a small reduction in cardiovascular disease and type 2 diabetes. So that one, they didn't have as much on that. They looked at the Okinawa diet, which is one of the 5 blue zones. And they found that that diet resembles a vegetarian diet, emphasizing root vegetables, and they eat mainly purple sweet potatoes. They have green and yellow vegetables, soybean-based foods, seaweeds, and algae. They also tea and a variety of medicinal plants and spices for their diet. Animal food consumption is limited, except for marine fish in the coastal regions. And they practice, another thing for the pronunciation, hara hashibu, which means they stop eating at 80% full, which is also good for your calorie restriction. And they found that the lifestyle in the blue zones, this is the other note, that encompass it's more than just the food. It encompasses shared features like not just plant-based eating, but moderation in consumption, physical activity, and strong familial and social connections. And so they found that it wasn't possible because of that to attribute the longevity observed in these regions solely to their diets. It was about the lifestyle. But they also noted that the diets in the blue zone regions, except for Loma Linda, and their health implications have been less well described. So they found that there wasn't as much information. And the Okinawa diet has undergone considerable westernization in recent years, and which they said may be contributing to the rise in chronic disease and the decreased life expectancy on the island. So that was an interesting note, but that was just a maybe. They also looked at a vegetarian and other plant-based diet. So vegetarian diet is so this is the major category of plant-based diets, ranging from partial to complete exclusion of animal products, which is the vegan diet. They actually put them into two categories because you can eat vegan without eating healthy foods, so to speak. Because just as an example, Oreo cookies are vegan, so I can be vegan and be chowing down on Oreo cookies all the time and have no fruit and vegetables in my diet. So they have a healthful plant-based index that favors high quality, nutrient dense plant foods. So these are our whole grains, fruits, vegetables, nuts, and legumes. And it minimizes less healthy plant foods like refined grains, potatoes, sugary sweetened beverages, and animal products. And they had the unhealthful plant index, which comprised mostly of less healthy plant foods. So this is where we get into the refined processed foods with sugar and refined carbohydrates. And in this group, it was less intake of healthy plant foods. So they did that comparison. There were definitely divergent associations for healthy versus unhealthy plant-based diet indices and the risk of type 2 diabetes, heart health, and stroke. The healthful plant-based diet was associated with improvements in physical and mental dimensions of health-related quality of life and reduced mortality, whereas the unhealthful plant-based diet was associated with reduced mortality. So I don't think there's a surprise there. Basically, your healthy plant-based diet has positive benefits, whereas the unhealthy does not. And then they went to the kind of the very last thing is combined effects of diet and lifestyle on healthy longevity. Healthy longevity is influenced not by diet alone, but also on various lifestyle factors, including smoking, physical activity, alcohol consumption, and body weight. They looked at 5 low risk lifestyle factors. So if you never smoked, you maintained a normal weight, which is a body mass index between 18.5 and 24.9. You did 30 minutes or more, or you do 30 minutes or more of moderate to vigorous physical activity every day, and moderate alcohol intake, which means no more than 1 or 2 drinks per day for women and no more than 2 drinks for men, and a high quality diet. And they defined what a high quality diet is as well. And so if you adhere to all 5 factors, then you can expect an increase in your life expectancy at age 50 by 14 years for females and 12.2 for men, in comparison to people who adapt none of those 5 low-risk health factors. So that's quite a significant difference in your life expectancy or longevity related to whether you've had good health lifestyles or not so good lifestyle. And so they said that following a healthy diet and lifestyle not only enhances overall lifespan, but also extends health span contributing to a longer period of disease-free life expectancy. And adherence to these lifestyle factors was also strongly associated with lower risk of frailty in older women. So lots of benefits. All right. That's a lot, OJ, huh?
Yes, that's the Lord.
Okay. We've been motoring through that. And
Yes,
I got just to put the summary and health implications back
yes.
down for us. So there were 5 points that they noted. I think 5 or 6 points that they noted in their summary and recommend summary. So number 1 is maintaining a healthy weight across various life stages is crucial for achieving longevity and healthy aging. Number 2, specific food sources or types of dietary fat, protein, and carbohydrates appear to be more important in influencing the risk of chronic disease and mortality than their quantity. They said a low carbohydrate diet dominated by animal derived fat or protein was associated with higher mortality, but a low carbohydrate diet rich in plant based fat and protein was associated with lower mortality. And they also, number 3, no one size fits all diet for everyone. However, some traditional diets share many common components while embracing distinct elements from diverse cultures. These dietary patterns typically emphasize minimally processed plant foods and healthy fats, coupled with reduced consumption of red and processed meats and added sugars. And I think there's some more that we missed. Number 4, a healthy diet often includes a variety of plant foods rich in polyphenols and other phytonutrients with antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. Number 5, adopting a healthy diet along with other lifestyle factors, not smoking, engaging in regular physical activity, maintaining a healthy weight, and consuming alcohol in moderation, if any, can potentially help promote can add 8 to 10 years of disease-free life expectancy and can help promote mental well-being and mitigate age-related cognitive decline, reducing the risk of dementia and enhancing the overall quality of life. And interestingly enough, they ended the last note, number 6, actually was more about our environment. They said that a healthy dietary pattern emphasized on plant-based foods and sustainable practices aligns with concerns about our environment and our environmental impact of the global food system. They are widely recognized not to only reduce chronic diseases and mortality, but contribute to lower greenhouse gas emissions, resulting in lower environmental impacts. So we're not just promoting a healthy diet and longevity, but also a healthy planet. And I wanted to end with, I like my quotes: invest in your health now, or pay the price of illness later. So I hope you take this information to heart and look at kind of where you stack up based on the research on longevity. And that's a lot for sure. Huh. OJ, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I think I'm actually good. I understood everything that you said about the reviews, and I think I get it. Yeah.
All right, that's good. So
Yeah.
we are going to say goodbye for now. Tomorrow we are here at 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time in the kitchen tomorrow. So we will
Wow.
see you tomorrow. for more of the Daily Energy Bite.
Bye.